this is a part one of series of the How to Be a Better series that I'm going to break down into every role and every possible hero that people are interested in. This is essentially going to go into depth on how to be more efficient and essentially be more impactful in your games, whether it's ranked, casual, or if you're just practicing. Today we're just going to be starting off with the simple role, the offlane role, and we're going to dive in to a bot mode just so we can understand the basics of the offlane. Before we continue this video, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that this video was recorded during a live stream broadcast on Twitch and TikTok. If you're interested in watching the guides in the live stream, check out the description below. The links will be posted there. I also want to clarify that this video will be broken down into 3 matches. A bot match to go over basic concepts and expectations of the offlaner, a second match against real players to put these concepts into play, and a third match where I am losing the game and trying my best to recover and show different scenarios of how to be effective. Anyways, let's continue the video. Thank you all for watching. Let's get it rolling. Essentially, the goal of the offlane is to be impactful in ways you wouldn't really expect to be, as in out-rotating your offlaner, as well as the 1v1 aspect in the offlane role, as well as being there for objectives that you normally wouldn't go to because you're too focused on essentially taking down the enemy tower or the enemy inhibitor. For this video, we're going to basically go into a simple hero. I think Zarus would be a great pick in this scenario because he has a little bit of everything, and he's not a bad pick in most teams. Okay, so we are in the match. As far as crests go, that depends on your hero, and essentially for Zarus, I prefer Icecorn Talons and or the Assassin's Crest, whether it being Ortis or even Witch Stalker for a cleanse. If you really need it, it's really not necessary on Zarus, but you know, it's there. I prefer the Icecorn Talons though. So the main goal of the offlane is essentially to apply pressure in your lane that allows your team to set up for objectives, as in Fangtooth, Orb Prime, and even enemy invasion of the jungle. One of the few key things that I see a lot of offlaners do is basically stick to their lane the whole game. And here we're going to change that up. And this is the most important part. As you can see here, this Fangmao bot is going to keep attacking the minions. And during this process, there's something I want to focus on, essentially, is trading. Most heroes like Fangmao, Quang, I believe even Aurora has a good, or even Shinbi, have a good shielding mechanic to allow them to get very important trades. Now, as you can see, we both leveled up to level 2. Prior to this, if you're level 1, you want to outpoke the laner. You might get minion aggro depending on the hero and specific abilities, but essentially throughout the lane, you just want to keep poking them. One thing to note is that ranged minions hurt a lot more, and as you can tell, they are beating my ass up even with him being dead. You want to make sure while you're poking the enemy offlaner is to wipe out the most damaging minions, which is the tower big minion that it takes down towers really easily, and the ranged minions. You want to get those out of the picture first in most of your trades because they will hurt you if you land a single auto or on specific abilities like I mentioned, and they will target you, and they will not let you get a better trade in your favor. Trades are essentially something you want to get in your favor in all times, and the reason I say this is because this objective right here is going to have to be taken throughout the game, or throughout the laning phase, which is about 13 to 15 minutes. If in this case I am low, as you can see, and Feng Mao is full health, and if he's on the same level, it's going to be a lot more challenging for me to contest that jungle buff, or sorry, that lane buff, because he will be able to outpoke me and try to beat me up as I'm taking it. So the main goal for this is to make sure that your enemy laner is essentially damaged. You want to use abilities and get out. You know, you're going to have minion aggro on you, and that's okay. That sometimes happens. One cool tip and one cool trick that I personally like to abuse a lot is if I land an auto and there's a big minion shooting me, if you step outside of these fog walls, they will no longer focus you at all. You can also, if you auto him and they're on aggro towards you, you can step outside of this wall. As long as you pass this side of the wall, they will no longer attack you. That is very, very small tech tip that you could probably use in your games to essentially guarantee fair trades. Now that Feng Mao has backed, and I killed him once, which is a little unfortunate, I'm able to take this green buff. And the most important time that I prefer to take this green buff or cyan buff, whatever you want to call it, is when your minions are attacking that tower. Because as you can see now, Feng Mao is attacking those minions, and he has to clear them before his tower either goes down or he misses XP slash coin drip from the minions. That's one big tip. Essentially, those are two big things. So number one, outpoke your laner and get essentially fair trades or trades in your favor. Number two is make sure to obtain the green and prioritize it as much as you can without dying. And for this case, I'm gonna let Feng Mao get me low. I'm just gonna let him hit me, whatever. Have the minions hit me, whatever. Say you're in the scenario. He's on the same level as I am, and he is beating me up completely. I can either back or stay. And this is where I see a lot of mistakes happen, where a lot of people will stay and be greedy for CS. Trust me, I know you want the CS. I know you want to get high in level. Oh, you think you're going to lose a lot. You don't always have to last hit. As you can tell that I'm getting XP and gold drip from these minions without even having to attack them. Sure, you lose a little bit from not last hitting, but at this point right here, it's okay to stay back here. It is early in the game. It is 6 minutes in, and I believe the tower armor doesn't go down until 9 minutes. So you're okay with taking the tower a little bit of damage. It's okay. Or it's okay to even back. You're going to lose it. It's fine. The reason I say this is because if you stay in the lane, you possibly will die. And if you dying will put the enemy offlaner severely ahead. Now, it may not seem like a lot. Well, one death, you know, what is he going to do? That can change a lot of the tide. One death is essentially almost about 200 to 300 gold. Depending on your bounty, if you got into kills, if you killed them several times, your bounty increases. You'll see like a little gold icon on the top left of the leaderboard by your name. And if you die to him, he's gonna get that gold, and guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna back, get a new item, and now he's gonna pass you on items. And this is not gonna be good whenever you want a 1v1 or try to get a fair trade, because he's simply just gonna out damage you or be a tanky and you won't do any damage to him at all. And that's a pretty big thing to focus on. A lot of people struggle with it. I struggle with it. I like to be greedy. I like to get every last hit. I'm like, fuck, I want to stay and get every possible coin drip. It's fine. It happens. I have a question here from the TikTok chat. It says, does Zarus lose to Ice Lady and Offlane? Now that you say that, that's a pretty big point to bring up. Matchups are really important in the offlane. In this case, in your question, is Zarus gonna lose to Aurora? Well, the answer is yes and no. The only reason I say yes is if Aurora is ahead, and knowing your kits is very important because there's counterplay in this. This is why matchups are a big important idea. Matchups are essentially gonna be the greatest thing of your life or the worst thing of your life. For example, Feng Mao has a shield, a passive with an auto that basically chunks you for a good bit every time it's up, and has a dash and I believe I mentioned a shield, so you will get more positive trades. On the other hand, Zarus, he has a shield that he can block for a whirlwind, or the hamstring he does, and for the initial passive that he also gets. He also has a dash to catch up and to get away. So in this case, if Feng Mao were to dash, I can catch up with my dash. If he's gonna attack me, I can hold my shield up for a few seconds and then eventually get a stun on him. My ability, my main ability, my right click spear poke is gonna technically beat Feng Mao in this matchup because I have the longer range advantage than he does. Meanwhile, he has to be close to use his hamstring. In this case, so like in this case, he just uses ability. He goes in. He probably will use his shield or whatever. And this is where the matchup kind of falls apart, because if I were to ult him right now and he has his dash up, he gets out of my ult, and that just kind of sucks. So while in the draft, it is very important to know who you're probably going to lane against. I mean, it doesn't show you what the enemy's role is going to be, but it's very important to understand that each hero kind of can counter the other one, you know. So that's a great question. Somebody else saying, I love using Aurora, but everyone uses Grux and it's complete counter. Yeah, that's the point of matchups. I mean, you want to essentially play heroes that are going to benefit you against the 1v1, especially in offlane. In this case, Feng Mao might lose the 1v1, but if he catches up high enough and is a high end level enough, for example, if I'm low enough, he might just ult me right now. I mean, he technically can. I don't know if the bot will, but he will win and ult me. So it's important to back here and there and make sure that your matchup is going to be in your favor. This can lead me into a better topic here. When you are losing the offlane, it is not end all be all for you at all. The problem with most offlaners is the mentality, right? Let's say Feng Mao has killed me 4, maybe 5 times, maybe even 3 times, right? If he is beating me in every 1v1 scenario and there's no way I can win against him, it is completely okay to leave your lane and rotate. Well, how can you do that efficiently? Well, let me show you. If you were to go in the off lane and you are losing and these minions are in your tower, let's clear them. Let's get them out of here. Let's kill all the minions. And let's say Feng Mao is taking control of the green objective completely. He's taking it every single time. You have no opportunity to catch up. He's out leveling you, whatever. You can just quickly clear the wave, and more than likely, if the enemy offlaner is in the lead, they will more than likely freeze the lane at their tower. At this point, you can go help your other laners win their lane. You can take control of the river buff. You can coordinate with your jungler to attack mini prime. You can even go into mid laner through this river and get a gank off. For example, right here, Gadget's getting ganked up on. And let's just fucking beat the shit out of Gideon. Bam. bam, you know, we're throwing blows. Hopefully your mid laner will follow up. There will be times that there won't. And let's say you just did a little bit of damage and you're like, fuck, I need to leave. I'm taking too much damage. Let's get out of here. That's completely okay, because now you kind of a little bit of taken a little bit of CS and XP from the minion wave, but you also damage the mid laner enough where he has to back. This is essential, because now this puts your mid laner ahead. He can slow farm the mid or shove the mid so fucking fast that he can take that down that T1 really early on, and you can even help him with that. That's fine. That will keep you in sort of on a balanced playing field, because now that if you think about this, Feng Mao is going to keep pushing my lane while I'm doing all this, but this pressure will piss off the other enemy team, because they're going to be like, missing right, missing offlane, why are you letting him go free? And that's because there's punishments to every decision people make in this game, and that's a prime example. If you hold or freeze the lane, it could definitely be a con more than a pro, because now you're allowing your offlaner to go to mid lane, gank the mid laner. You can have your offlaner go to mini prime. You can have your offlaner go to Fangtooth, and essentially, well, even if you're losing your lane, that is the longest lane in the game. They're not going to get to your T2 that fast, and it's really easy to back and take recover from that. You can just set up for the Fangtooth, take it, whatever. Hell, there's times where insane mobility heroes like Zarus and Feng Mao, where I will literally leave my offlane if I'm losing and go all the way to dual lane just to use 2 abilities or ult. This is important, because now that I helped them win this, we are gonna dominate this lane, and the offlaner on their team is still slow pushing, slow farming, and they're barely gonna take down my T1. Okay, that's something very important to note. I think that's very crucial for something for people to understand, and it's something that not a lot of people do. As soon as they lose their lane, they give up. It's over, FF at 10, or I can't lane against him, I need jungle ganks. Another cool thing you can do if you're falling behind, and maybe even if you're ahead in the off lane, you can abuse the fact that the enemy jungle is right there. In this case, let's say I am now beating the offlaner, right? I'm starting to beat the offlaner. He's free money, easy kill, bam, dead, right? We take the green buff, the cyan buff. We can go straight into the blue side jungle and take the 3 camp. Now, there's something to note. If you're a laner, you do a little bit less damage to jungle camps. Be aware. I believe there's a certain threshold in time where they become weaker for laners, so keep that in mind. You could even take the blue. Say the enemy jungler is in mid, ganking the mid, or he's ganking the dual lane, and you killed your offlaner. Fuck it. Let's go to invade his jungle. Let's go get yourself ahead. All right? Let's do that. That's one thing to note. Say I have my jungler here. We're winning every objectives. We take up every tower we possibly can. She helps me get mini prime, whatever. Let's take this T1. And this is a very important thing to note. Once you've taken the enemy T1 down, which is normally happening around 15 minutes, it could be a little bit less, it could be a little bit later, you can essentially make the decision here. Do you lack the map pressure all around the map that you have to take the T2 and maybe even the inhib? Or after taking the T1, is this a time where you start rotating like a madman? As my personal favorite thing to do is to start rotating like a madman. The reason I say that is because inhibs will majority of the time 90% go down within the game no matter what, right? So this is important. Those inhibs are going to go down. There is no rush for an inhib to go down. That's why I'm a big fan of rotating, getting kills, getting fed, getting essentially gaining a huge lead over the team, where now I can essentially go to every Fangtooth, go to every mini prime, go to every orb prime, go to the dual lane, take their T1. Because if you keep the lead on Fangtooth, which is 3, right? You're essentially going to help the whole team, not just yourself, but the whole team. And this will put you ahead of the other team drastically, to the point where almost every fight is going to be winnable in your favor. You're going to get several buffs. And I think that's something very important to note, that towers are going to go down. There's no race to take the tower down. There could be a time where for example, let's say my dual lane is losing completely. They've lost their T1. Mid lane has lost their T1. He's back up to their T2, and I'm the only lane winning. There's going to be times where I'm going to be hard shoving the right to make the other laners, such as a dual lane in the mid lane, in this example, rotate to my off lane to just defend, because their off lane is completely losing their lane. I will have 3 people here, and this will allow your team to recover. This will allow your team to go for a Fangtooth, go invade, maybe even go prime if it's on your side. Even how allow your jungler to go clear his jungle, because he's being invaded so damn much, because every lane has lost except you. This is probably like one of the only times where I would recommend hard shoving. If there's no lane and other pressures, you have to be that pressure. You have to allow your team to set up. Now, I have a few comments here on my TikTok. We're going to cover this. I have a lot of issue getting randoms to understand the objectives in an opponent. Yes, you will have teams where you will lose, and trust me, yes, you got to understand that this is a team game, and your teammates are sometimes going to lose. This is where you're going to step in the offlaner. You're going to be the better player on your team. You're going to be the better offlaner. That you're going to take advantage of this tech. That you will be able to recover from these fights and objectives. Say they're taking the Fangtooths every fucking time, and they're on the 3rd Fangtooth, and you're the only lane winning. And you know what? Let's like, hey team, let's group up. Let's group up and go take Primal. Let's go take that. And that's a pretty big point that was just mentioned here by a Cursed in the Twitch chat, saying map awareness is crucial. You're 100% right. Map presence and map awareness is very crucial. Now, me, I will admit, I have a bad habit with wards. I do not place my wards pretty often. It's something I should change. Good ward placements would be right here in the jungle on their blue buff, in the mini prime pit here, or even here by the staircase. I like to place it here sometimes because you can cover the staircase if they're going behind you, or if they're going to the river. Maybe even sometimes catch them if they're going around the prime pit. That's really big. Thank you for bringing that up. Map awareness is key. The enemy jungler will more than likely be in their blue lane where you're pushed up, and knowing where that jungler is could be super duper important. In this case, let's say I'm beating the Fang Mao, and let's say his jungler is going to come to my right lane and try to gank me and try to beat me up because I'm beating him up. At this point, you can delay their back by evading their attacks and basically teasing them to the point where they don't have to back, or where they have to back and you just won't let them. You throw a spear, you use abilities, you'll get close to scare them, and at this point you can tell your teammates to, hey, jungler and offlaner are on right, There's no smite that he can take objectives with. You guys should group up and take Fangtooth. Right? There's things like that were important. Their map awareness is very important. Knowing where the jungler is as an offlaner is so good, because if you're dominating in the offlane, you will have presence from the mid laner or the jungler. I tell you that from experience. It happens to me a lot. I will have 3 people, maybe even 4 people in my lane if I am dominating the offlane. I'm living proof. And at that point, you got to tell your teammates, like, hey, you guys need to take T1, you guys need to take T2. I have 4 people on right that are occupied with one singular person, that they're leaving every possible objective open for grabs. And that's something very, very important to do. I do a lot of routes that hit 3 sprites for ward, or 3 splits for wards. Yeah, knowing ward placements is probably a good point to bring up, and I think that comes with practice. You want to get points of angles, or sorry, angle points here, like, or choke points, like here, where you cover the most ground. You'll know if they're coming here. You'll know coming from that direction. You'll know if they're coming from this direction. You'll know from this direction, right? Choke points are pretty important. I like to place my ward right here sometimes, where it covers that possible direction, this possible direction, and even that possible direction here. So that's essentially one of the biggest tips I can give in the offlane. This was a bot match, and this is kind of just to break down what is to be expected. I know I didn't really cover freezing the lane or setting the lane. I can do that during the match, so stick with me here. We will jump into a regular match, hopefully, and see if we can do this. If you're looking for a long-term goal, you essentially want to learn every role and be knowing where to be at, and knowing what the other roles are going to do, because that'll open your eyes and essentially show you what could be avoided, what could be done better, what can I collapse on, what can I expect from the enemy team. And it's a pretty big step, but it's an important step. I would say. I will show you that when you go against good players, most good players can be very unpredictable. They will change their status up. They will change their positioning. They will change their methods of being efficient. So in this case, the matchup is looking okay. Terra has a big whirlwind attack. She has a throwing axe. She has a shield bash that gives her somewhat shield. But I also have a shield bash. I have a protection. I have a long range poke, and I have a dash to escape. So this matchup is not necessarily bad, and it's not necessarily the best. It's an even playing field. In this case, the crest I'm going to be using is probably Ice-Scorn Talons or Brutalix. Now you may ask why. Ice-Scorn Talons will help me in my ult in the cage, and the Brutalix can help me essentially evade a route if needed from either Countess, who's their mid laner, Sevrog, their jungler, or Decker with their ultimate. Hell, even a Murdoch's Stasis Trap if you want to think about it. So one important thing that I will reinforce, like we did in the bot match, is poking your lane. Now you will see that Terra is more than likely going to try to use every ability like she is right now. She's going to get that trade. She wants to keep on the same playing field on health. Luckily, I have a passive that heals me over time. And I will recover slowly, a little bit better than Terra would. She will win the 1v1s for now. You're going to take advantage of the fact that she doesn't have her stacks. For example, she used it now. Alright, she gets her shield. I'm gonna get my butt kicked for a little bit. She beat me to the level 2, which is completely okay. She beats me to the level 2. Now she has the advantage to take green buff, and she's gonna basically allow me to keep the minions on my lane, which is an important part. She's going to go into the enemy jungle or my jungle and ward it. She's gonna be aware for any possible ganks that might happen to her. This is where I use my shield, bash her, keep hitting some autos, and then abuse the mechanic that lane minions will no longer follow you past that wall. You can blink out, ensure that we don't get the death here. And it's okay to lose in the first few minutes. It is completely okay. You're gonna get your butt kicked sometimes. In this case, I am. Terra hits really hard. I don't have as much wide hits as she does, which is completely okay. Right? It's just a matchup. Like I was saying, it's not necessarily great. It's not necessarily the worst. Could it be better? Yes. Was I first pick? Essentially, I have to pick a hero, right? That's what happens with draft style games, right? So at this point, 770 gold. We're gonna want to get something that can essentially keep us in the lane. I would recommend either doing a little bit more damage, like augmentation. You can go mutilator, give yourself a little bit more HP, and essentially try to stay on an even playing field. She's backed. She's more than likely going to have an item, a second tier item like I am, and we're still in the same playing field. I haven't died. She hasn't died, and this is where it comes down to essentially breaking down, winning the trades. We're just going to keep poking her, heal up whatever we can. She has more lane minion advantage. Here comes Crazy Fool. He's going to come for a gank. Jump on him. She blinks out. No, she doesn't blink out. She just dashes. So essentially, like these types of scenarios where your jungler assists you can be crucial. The matchup wasn't great. We lost our lane, and guess what? We got help. And more than likely, the enemy offlaner will get help anytime soon. At this point, we can freeze the lane. By freezing the lane, I mean getting last hits here. Only focusing on the last hits. The only reason I'm not going for this Cyan objective is because it's not really that important so early on. She can essentially grab it whenever she wants. It's okay. There's going to be more throughout the game, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to give it up. It's okay to give up some things. It's okay to lose minions, like I was explaining earlier. It's okay to not be greedy for everything. You're gonna lose it sometimes, and it's okay. Don't be afraid. Don't be let down. And here we're just gonna play it safe. She's level 5. We know she just backed. She has an extra item. She's gonna beat me up. It's okay to back over here and just soak up the XP. She's clearing it super fast. What she's probably more than likely gonna do by prediction is gonna clear this this wave and go for the Cyan, which hopefully she will right after this wave. It just came in. Which it just came in. She's gonna clear it, and she's gonna probably go to the Cyan, guaranteed. There it is. She's walking towards the Cyan. And now here we could just soak up the XP. And if you have Zars, for example, like me, you can abuse the mechanics. If you could get there in time, you can essentially throw your dagger and it has an execute on low health on minions or heroes, where bonus is the damage. He's gonna tower dive me. Got her. See? Punishment. She gets super aggressive. She goes to the tower dive, and guess what? She got punished for it. There's punishments to everything, like I was explaining earlier. Now we're still on the same playing field. I have now essentially... Oh, sorry. I meant to get augmentation. There you go. But now we're still on the same playing field. I didn't lose anything from that. I got my XP. I got my level 6. She may have gotten the Cyan buff, but we're still on the same level. She died, I died, she died, I got the XP, I get the gold. There's nothing preventing you from losing this lane, essentially. It's still way too early in the game, and that's important. Now we're gonna see how she's gonna react to this change. We're on the same playing field. Us being on the same playing field is gonna allow us to open up for more duels. We're just taking advantage of the fact of that she has no ability up. We're just gonna use every possible ability. She's backing up. She's probably gonna either look towards her mid or back. Looks like she's backing. It's okay. Let her back. This is where we can shove or freeze the lane. In this case, I'm gonna freeze it a little bit. I'm just damaging the minions, so by the time she comes back, it's easy, super easy to clear. So it's okay to just hold them like this. Okay. Now, let's take advantage of the fact that she has to clear her wave. Let's go check the mid river. If it's there, if it's up for grabs. No, it's not. It's okay. If that Countess was there, I would have went in there and went for a gank. Helped my Iggy get a kill, maybe. I will say there's something to know. I do have 80 ping on this. I'm playing on East servers. I probably made a mistake there. So my abilities probably won't land as much as hers will. So at this point, I have a huge minion wave. I have my jungler on mini prime. They're gonna capitalize on mini prime. My Terra's there, which is gonna be an issue. I have to be there or at least show up for something. Now that my presence is here, it's gonna be easier to take for us. 3 people here, we're good. She left the lane. She went into the jungle. She's going for the green buff. We could probably go for a steal here. We'll see. See? Easy as that. We take those. We can go for a steal, and that's what she wasted time on taking that objective where I could hold this lane. I could just take whatever I want. She's gonna back up. That gives me my passive to heal up. I don't have a lot of mana, which might be an issue. I do have my blink up, just in case the scenario gets bad. I can get away. We can take this. We could just allow this minion to die while she's backing, and hold the lane again. At this point, we can either go back and buy, or we can hold the lane, get a little bit more gold, get a little bit more last hits. And right here, I would say this is a good time to back. When they're matched up like this, you essentially can allow them to lose a lot of minions because they have to kill each other, and there's enough damage on the minions where they can actually just wipe them out by the time they get back, and they essentially lose one whole wave of CS. So let's we're gonna cut to a little bit more of a detailed scenario on this public match. Nothing interesting happens here, but essentially you just want to keep this lead up. Okay, let's see. She left my lane. Luckily my lanes are doing really well. More than likely she's going to be on the 3 camp. No, she's not. This alert that we're missing left. There she is in mid. She is covering for her mid. She's taking advantage of the fact that I am slow pushing, and this is where we hard push. She is missing. She has to come back. We're gonna make her come back. We're gonna hard push this shit. Let's go push this. More than likely she's gonna rotate to right because right lane is just getting jumped on by all 4 of my teammates. Huge. Look at this. We're putting pressure. We're gonna take this offlane T1. At least that's the goal. Easy as that. We'll use our health pot, get some healing. One thing to know if you're playing Zarus, if you dash, you get a little bit more of attack speed and movement speed, so you hit a little bit faster. Just something to note. She might be retreating for this tower. Come on, it's almost dead. There we go, we got it. Whatever. Three, two, one. Sevar came for a gank. Failed completely. He's taking the tie-in. We get out with the tower. Now, like we were talking in the bot match, we took the T1 down. Now what? What are we gonna do with this? Luckily, in this game, my teammates are very, very good and very competent. They're gonna take every objective because now the Sevarog was in my off lane. Few people in the off lane, and they're just dominating. They could just take every objective. They don't really need me there. She's gonna dash me. She's gonna run away. She loses the fight. Now what? What are we gonna do? Now we can essentially back and go for a possible rotate. Huge lead. Or we can even take this next minion wave here, actually. Then go for a rotate. Let's get 750 gold so we can buy the item. Let's leave fast. Let's let them know that enemy is missing left. Careful, right? She's gonna have to go back for left. Someone's gonna have to go back for left. And now we're gonna take advantage of the fact of that happening. We can go help our team. Thank you so much for that follow, Gerbs. I appreciate you. And if you noticed, I'm not very good at placing wards. I have not placed a single ward. I haven't had any threat from Sevarog. We can just place our wards anywhere on them in the jungle where it could be important. Help our dual laner. And take advantage of the fact that somebody has to go back for left and do something. So we're going to look for something to take. You can go mini orb. I'm on my way. Mini orb is up for grabs. Look at that. Bam. Left lane is pushed up. Mid lane is pushed up, but our Chimera is being under attack. Let's go help him. See? Bam. Just like that. Let's back up a little bit. We took the objective. We allowed our Chimera to take the objective. And this is what I mean. Your presence is very important. I could just be taking the off lane and focusing the off lane objective. But instead, no. We're going to do a rotate. I have a few questions here in the TikTok. Cosmic, you have a question, let me know. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. I know I'm doing a live video, but your questions may open a broader conversation. Can I take my jungler's camps? Ooh, that's a pretty good question. I didn't think about that. If you are behind, and you're losing every lane and you've rotated and you're killing a little bit of mid laner, a little bit of the off dual lane, maybe you're helping them to take objectives. If your jungler is ahead, for example, Crazy Fool here is 6-1. He's huge. Taking the 3 camp is normally not frowned upon past the 12 to 15 minute mark, especially if they have a lead. It is okay to take it. You can also ask if you want to ask them. They will probably say yes if they're in the lead. They won't really care. Let's go into this 1v2 here. Oh god, here we go. We lose, it's okay. We get collapsed on. It's 100% okay. Our Iggy is pushing the left lane. It happens. Okay, so back to explaining our situation when taking the jungle camps. It's okay to take them if they're super ahead, but if they're super behind, I wouldn't recommend it. If they're not able to clear a side of their jungle, for example, the blue side they can't clear it, or the red side they can't clear it, and you're like, okay, well, they haven't cleared it in a minute, you can assume the fact that you can probably take it, because if they don't take it, it's never going to go on cooldown. Essentially, they're never going to level up. The minions level up over each death. That's something to know. Around 12 to 15 minute lane, taking 1 to 3 camp, 1-3 camp is fine. Yes, it is okay. Normally not frowned upon. Some junglers will be upset, like, hey, why are you taking my farm, because they're super behind. But that's normally not the case. Who should offlane prioritize in team fights? That's a great question. That is also something to consider when you're making a counter pick. If you are Zarus in this case, like I am, my main focus would be to isolate the most squishiest heroes, this being Countess, Decker, and Murdoch. If I ult them, they're trapped in the cage, they can't get out. I'm doing a lot of damage. I'm being bruiser. I'm doing things like essentially that would affect the game pretty highly. Getting rid of a mid laner is a big source of damage, and getting rid of a carry is a big source of damage. Majority of the team fights, you always want to focus the main heavy hitters. You don't want to focus a tank. You don't want to blow your util on a tank unless they're contesting an or prime, or if it's their jungler. You know, that's the only times you would want to take the fight on the biggest hero on their team with the biggest HP. In this case, that would be Sevarog. Sevarog is super tanky. I am not going to waste all my util on somebody that's barely going to be half health at the end of it. In this case, I would rather take it on somebody that can see, just like that. We get rid of the squishies. We isolate this here. Perfect, we get out. Just like that. How I just did it right there is something important. Let's go help our team out. We should probably back out here. This would be a good case to back out. At this point, you've noticed that I haven't really gone to my offlane very often. There's really no need to. It's pushing by itself. I just need to go over there, kill the minions, let it push. My team needs me. Your team needs you as an offlaner. They need you there for those fights. It's super important to understand that it's very necessary for you to be in fights. You can make the difference in the team fight. That's the only time where I would say it's not okay to take him if your jungler is failing his ganks and he's super behind, and which is something I mentioned earlier. I did mention that earlier. If they're behind, just leave them alone. Let them take it. One piece of advice that I would say to consider in the offlane is essentially the fact that don't expect any help from your jungler. There will be games where you get no help in the offlane. Offlane, I'm a big advocate on this. Try not to help the offlane as much as you can, because your jungle can be needed in more important lanes like the dual lane, or taking objectives, or even helping the mid lane, because they're very, very huge. Try to get out of here. He gets me. It's okay. Whatever. Let's get Miss Meadow here. But teacher, what if Offlane gets really buff? A hero like Crunch get ahead easily when left alone. Yes, that is a great point. I believe I mentioned this earlier. In the bot lane, if you are losing your offlane, I will reinforce this again. It's okay if you lose your offlane. It's okay to lose it because that T1 down is going to go down eventually. And I will say this. You can always leave your lane and help other lanes win. If you are behind and you're losing and they're so fucking far ahead, they're getting 2 kills in with a bunch of CS, they're 2 levels ahead of you, go be the potential of changing the pace in a different lane. Help your mid lane get a kill. Help your mid lane take the T1. Help your jungler take mini prime. Help your team take Fangtooth. It's something to understand as you play more and more, that you don't have to stick in your lane if you're losing all the time. It's okay to rotate and just clear your wave and get out of there. You don't always have to 1v1. You necessarily don't. We're gonna ult here. I have 3 people here. This is not a good fight. I made the mistake by getting collapsed on. I did not assume that they were going to collapse on me. I did not know that. This is a great application of map awareness. I was not aware that all 5 of them were there and 2 of my teammates were dead. That was a bad engage. I saw her, I saw the opportunity, but it was not in my favor because I had 2 people dead on my team. And this might be a turn for us because now they are allowed to get primal. Hopefully our Twin Blast and Iggy can do something very important. Just like that, our Twin Blast is going to do it. Perfect. Nope. Oh, that's not good. We're gonna go assist. Hopefully we can take this. Hopefully the Devrog doesn't make it in time. Might this. Perfect. Just like that. We help our team recover. We take those W's. And essentially here at this point as an offlaner, you're gonna be a little bit strong. She's gonna be able to do a lot more stuff. You're going to be able to rotate more efficiently. And look what this Muriel is doing, right? She's hard pushing the lane. She's Muriel. Her kit allows her to ult to anybody if needed. So in this case, it's okay for her to hard push left because she can just ult to whatever the team fight is. And in my case, I have to kind of be a little bit aware of what's going on. I got to make sure that my jungler is going in on something. I want to go help him up. If somebody's getting collapsed on, I want to help them get out of there. You are an important person in the offlane. It may seem like the most useless role, but it's such an impactful role when you come to the fact that just like that, we set something up. We allowed damage on the Decker. We allowed damage on their only tank. See what I mean? We're diving in here. We're in this shit together. You're gonna be the impactful. I just shield bash that Terra off of my Kai where he just could have died. If I was not there to help, he would have died. This would have been a different pace. Teacher, when is it a good time to split push and who should be split pushing? That's a great question too. I will explain to this after this whole scene ended. That's a great question. So, A good time to split push is when every lane is being pushed against you and you are the only winning lane, to the fact that you're beating the offlaner so damn much that they're dying so much that you're able to take every possible tower and objective, and cause and draw attention towards you. If every lane is losing and they're lost every T1 and T2, they are going to be able to catch up by either clearing minions. If their inhib is down, siege minions give it a little bit more XP. And effectively, what you allow is, now that you're a nuisance to their team, they're gonna group up on you. They're gonna group up on you, and they're gonna attack you. And this allows you to set up for any open objectives. As far as who should be split pushing, it should either be the mid laner or the off laner. Sometimes in this case, it could be the support, which is Muriel. Muriel can do it because she has a ult that allows her to get to every possible team fight. The one laner that I don't think that should be split pushing is carry and jungler, and I'll explain why. Jungler has a very efficient tool in the jungle, the smite. You need that smite to secure mini orb, and Fangtooth. It is very important. Without that, you have a big chance of it being stolen. So that's something to grasp. If you have your carry split pushing, sometimes that could be good, sometimes that could be bad. Because your carry is your main source of damage, and carry can essentially go to the lane and split push it, and you're lacking that team fight potential. They're very important to take objectives. So there's two heroes or two laners that I don't think it should be split pushing. So that's something I would reinforce. Okay, we're gonna end this up here in just a quick minute here, guys. We're gonna get into another match. I'm going to only talk about things that I haven't covered yet. So as throughout the match plays, I will cover things that that I didn't get to cover in the game before, because, you know, like I said, people have different play styles. There's different things. But like I was saying in the previous few minutes, I was saying that this matchup may not be the best. Quang, knowing his kit, he has a shield, he has a root, and he has a stun and a dash. I can't forget the dash that allows him to get out of scenarios. He will get better trades than I will because of that shield that he just did. I did no damage to him. He did more damage to me in this case. So this is one essential thing to note, that matchups do exist and counterpicking is pretty important. And sadly, I was first pick once again. He's just gonna get better positive trades. I like to sometimes be aggressive with this, knowing he will probably have level 3 here, which is, I'm expecting a gank, I guess. That's nice. I'm coming. Oh shit. I'm dead here. Bad blink on me. I didn't get level 3. Oh, he got you too. That's unfortunate. You never know. Don't do what I did. I did that really bad. But like I said, that's just a bad matchup. I get tethered. I get stunned. I get out shielded. I get out damaged. A bad matchup. Crunch against the Quang. I would never be forced into offlane. Good deal. What would be a good counter to Quang? A good counter to Quang is somebody that has shield as well. So like Shinbi's a good pick. Kara's a good pick. I would say even somebody ranged. somebody that has a range ability, Zarus is a good pick because you can basically negate the damage that he does on the knockup as he's knocking you up. Zarus can definitely block the shield. Shinbi or Zarus? Yeah, Shinbi Zarus. Yeah, that's good. Another good counter would probably be Terra because she has her passive that allows her to get shield. Rux is sometimes okay too because he has a bleed and he can kind of counteract the damage trade-off. Not necessarily bad. There you go.
Terra's over here.
I'm okay with this. He's missing minion for him.
Terra's in your jungle, Cos.
Keep dragging it out. He's wasting time. Meanwhile, I can just sit back and just keep passively gaining XP. Make him use all his util. I have my dash in 2, 1. And that's how you contest the green buff. You make him waste so much time that you're just catching up in CS and levels that he eventually wasted so much time doing that I just could regen and sit back. I have the priority. I don't have to defend my tower. I don't gotta do any of that. That's one thing to note. Here we can probably take the green buff before he does. As you can see, this is a different type of playstyle that you can kind of encounter. Whereas last game, Zero Yumin was a lot more aggressive and always attacking me. Playing is not necessarily so aggressive, but he's able to be punished and shut down for being too passive. Considering that he has the better matchup here. So it's something to note. So as we're winning the fights now, we're ahead. I can clear this wave, and then I can essentially go for the Cyan buff. I don't make it in time. Over here we could just back out. We have the lead. We have 3 and 2. We have almost 2 full items on. I guess he wants to fight. He just backed. He just wasted everything. He just picked the wrong fight. I don't know why he did that. He wasted both of his health pots. He just came back and now he has to back again. Oh, I just rewarded the same spot. Whoops. So the main objective here is going to be take my T1.
Hey, Drongo's pushed up to our tier 3 fast.
And rotate. Hell, we can even go now and actually rotate to that duo. If he's still there. He's not there anymore. He's backed out. Unfortunately, this is what happens sometimes in the offlane. We're the only one ahead, and everybody else this. At this point, you just hard push it, but you're gonna get collapsed on. Before we finish this video, I want to give a big quick shout out to the Cosmic Expansion Show and KingNinjaTV for helping me make this video. Their links to their Twitch and TikTok will be in the description below. Lastly, I just want to give a quick shout out to you guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope that this guide will be beneficial to you and that you learned a lot. If you're interested in watching the live streams, go check out the description below for my links to my TikTok and to my Twitch. You can come by and ask any other questions. If I have missed any other basic ideas or scenarios, I will gladly go over it with you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good game.